Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about sexting today. I've had a lot of conversations recently with folks who are feeling a little insecure with their sexting game or sexting slash dirty talk game, right? And I've had a lot of people say, like, ugh, I suck at it, I'm bad at it, which I want to be really clear. If you're not into it, that's one thing. But sometimes what I hear in those conversations is, I'm not into it because I'm bad at it, or because I think I'm bad at it, or because it's daunting, or like it's something that I think I might like to do, but I'm in my own head when I do it, or I feel kind of silly about it when I do it. And that's real, because we don't really have a lot of open, healthy, honest conversations about sex in our sex ed curriculum. So from an early age, we're taught to feel anxious or even ashamed in speaking our desires. And I'd like to change that. That's sort of part of my goal of helping people to really story their own sexual experiences. So I thought I'd give on a couple of tips and tricks. These are some freebies for you about sexting specifically. I'm going to start with sexting because I actually think if you can get comfortable with sexting, it's an easier starting point than with dirty talk, because the beautiful thing about sexting is you can edit, right? You can edit and you can prepare. You can create these things in advance. You can write them up on your notes before you even put them in that scary text message bubble. You can delete, you can think them over. And if you can get comfortable with sexting, a lot of times that can be the thing that helps you get a little more comfortable going improv, going rogue, as it were, and starting to say some of those things, off the cuff in the moment, which a lot of times is what dirty talk really is. So, quick and easy sort of way to break it down. I think of sexting two options. One, tell someone what you're doing or what you want them to think you're doing, right? So this is what I am doing. Or tell someone what you wish you were doing. And subheading is like, I wish I was doing this, or I wish you were doing this, or I wish we were doing this. You can frame it a couple different ways, right? So those are the two, like I am doing, I wish I was doing, or I would be doing, we would be doing. So let's break it down. Let's start with the first one, I am doing. Pretty simple formula for that. I like as a starting phrase, I'm thinking about. Insert thing that you might be thinking about. So a pretty standard example, might even sound a bit cliche, is, I'm thinking about you and I'm touching myself, right? So it's a thought, but also an action. And you don't have to necessarily actually be doing the thing. If that goes against your ethics, fine, maybe use the second model. I wouldn't suggest actually touching yourself at work in your desk. In fact, just don't, because that's how you get fired, or at least a trip to HR for sexual harassment. Don't do that, right? But I'm thinking about, and then the other thing I would say about sexting is it doesn't have to be extremely explicit. I think that's where some people also get intimidated and hung up. It doesn't have to be, I'm thinking about you pounding the shit out of me. It can be, if that's what you want it to be, but you could also build yourself up to it, start a little slow. So here's what I would suggest you do. Take a moment, and you can write this down if you're like a person who likes making lists, or just think about it. Think about your partner, think about the person that you might want to text, and just list off a couple of things for yourself. What are you attracted to about them? What do you like? What are parts of their body, or personality, or things that they do that you really like? And I would hone in on things that, make you feel a little sexy, that turn you on a little bit. I like your smile is really nice. We could maybe add a little bit of spice to that, though. So thinking about, do you really like their shoulders, their arms, their butt, their hair, their smell, the way their laugh sounds, whatever it is. Like, make a list, and then insert one of those. You can just start there. I'm thinking about, the smell of your perfume. I'm thinking about the way your arms look in the t-shirt you left the house in today. I'm elaborating a little bit, but a good breakdown, I think, or a good formula is, I'm thinking about blank, and you can elaborate by going a little bit further. I'm thinking about your blank, insert preposition here, in, on, against, next to, my blank. Then we're just plugging in body parts. I mean, if you want to, and it can be like, I'm thinking about your mouth on my skin. It's a pretty good one. I'm thinking about your arms around my waist. I'm thinking about your hands on my neck. Right? You see, we're building a formula here. That's a great way to start. Let's go to the second category. So that's like I am doing or I am thinking about, because it could also be a verb. I am doing, I'm thinking about or I'm imagining. It could also be I'm touching myself or I'm wishing you were here, right? But that sort of transitions us into the what I think of as like I wish you were here messages, because what you're going to express to this person is some version of like, if you were here, I would be doing this, or I would like you to be doing this. I would like us to be doing this. And again, you don't have to go full force, triple X rated right away. You can if you're feeling really frisky and it's like, if you were here, I would, have you crawl under this table and eat me out. That's great. If you were here, I would, bend you over a table and fuck the shit out of you. Gauge, obviously, where you're at with your partner. Do you think that they would like to receive something like that? Is that something that, you think would turn them on? Is it a behavior that you actually do with this person or that you know that they like? It's a good way to gauge, like, is this going to be too much? I hope I don't have to say this, but don't send text messages like that to people that you're not in a relationship. Not even like I'm not saying like, oh, you're in a committed, like you're dating or official or whatever, but like, don't fucking send a message like that to someone that you've just met once. I feel like that's obvious, but let me just say it, because people, unsolicited dick pics, if nothing else, are a good indicator that there are some people out here who just feel like it's okay to send very sexual material to people who have not consented to receive that. So, caveat, which maybe I should have said at the top, but I trust y'all, okay? You can start simple, again, and use our formula, right? Like, if you were here, I would take your blank and do blank with it. I would like to blank your blank with your blank. Whatever. And it could also be like, if you're uncomfortable using specific phrases, because I think sometimes the language piece gets in people's way, right? Like, I don't want to say the phrase like, eat my pussy. I don't like using the word pussy or the word penis, or like I can't figure out what the right word is for this. That's totally cool. Can you zoom out a little bit and get a little more specific about some of the other sensory things that go on in that encounter? So for example, if I were thinking about writing to a partner and what I, was thinking of was like them going down on me, but I didn't just want to text them like, hey, I'm thinking about you, or I want you to come on over here and eat my pussy. Like, that feels like, oh, no, I wouldn't say that, or I feel weird writing that. I might say something like, I wish you were here so you could wrap your hands around my hips and pull my body into your mouth or into your face, right? I want to feel your lips on my skin. That's like pretty broad. It could encompass a lot of activities. I could try to get it a little more specific, right? If I wanted to say, if you were here, I wish you would kiss down my body and pull me into you. These are pretty broad strokes here, but they're getting to the point, right? And at the end of the day, you could always just stick with like, I'm thinking about this. I would like to be doing this. Right? If you were here, I would blank. And put a verb in, right? If you were here, I would squeeze that cute butt of yours. If you were here, I would, kiss you. I would slide my hand up your thigh and feel your beautiful body, right? They're like, we're gonna get out a thesaurus on this one, okay? And just try, I would suggest like start with something that maybe you've done before in real life. And that's another thing you could do. I guess that's like a third category, is sort of like reflecting on happy memories, right? I'm still thinking about when we had sex on the kitchen counter, right? or like pick a memory that's shared, so you actually don't have the pressure of like coming up with a whole other scenario, but just speak to things that you've already done and you know that you like, and bring those back up, right? Plant that seed. And it's a really good way to sort of throughout the day sort of keep that intentional erotic charge between you and a partner. So I encourage it. If it's something you're curious about trying, use our formula. I am thinking about your blank preposition, my blank, okay? Or I wish you would blank my blank. I remember when we blank. Start there, building blocks. And if you need to, like, if you're like, I don't know how to end this, just leave them hanging a little bit. Ellipses are your greatest friend, especially if you're going to see this person, right? If you're trying to, like, use this as a springboard to get into, like, sexy time later, right? Just, hey, I have to run. I'm going to be thinking about you for the rest of the day. Kissy face emoji. Beautiful. You've sexted. Congratulations. And then you can use that as fodder for dirty talk in our 2.0 dirty talk conversation. All right. Love you all. Wishing you curious, shame-free, fun-filled explorations of your wonderful sexual selves. Mwah.